On a chilly Saturday night, Swedish rockers H.E.A.T set a sold-out venue afire in Melbourne, Australia, bringing their signature style of huge hooks and bigger choruses.
So let's break down the night, the set highlights, and discuss why H.E.A.T might be the hottest melodic hard rock band on the planet. So H.E.A.T came all the way from Sweden to Melbourne, Australia, and played a venue in Brunswick called Gold, which is an awesome place. I figured the least I could do was take a bus and 2 trains to get there, because I've been a fan of this band for a long time now, and I've never got a chance to see them live, even though this is their 3rd time in Australia. I arrived there pretty much to get close to the door when there was like maybe 5 people in front of me. A couple of guys with long hair just kind of walk up like, oh yeah, more fans. I'm like, hey, why do they look familiar? And there's like a door staff only door right next to me, and I'm like walking down, I'm like, oh, shit, I think that was some of the band. And then about 2 minutes later, the other 3 come through. I'm like, that's definitely the band, holy shit. They just walked straight past me, I'm like, hey, Darren, hey, cool. And I'm like, wow, that was H.E.A.T. That was good. Queensland boys, Catalano, they opened the show. Been a bit of a fan for about 10 years now. They've released 2 albums, one in 2016, one in 2020, and they're both pretty cool if you like 80s hard rock, melodic rock, and definitely worth checking out. Lots of high energy, killer guitar solos, awesome vocals. So they brought a high energy set and really good introduction to the night and a great way to warm up the place for the main event, H.E.A.T. If you're a fan of the band and you didn't know already, they have a new album coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they were a really great sounding band. I only caught the last 2.5, 3 songs of their set because I didn't get to the gig until a bit later. But yeah, they sounded, they were melodic kind of hard rock, but they had an Aussie kind of edge to them as well. Just a bit gritty. The singer, yeah, he did have a great voice, but he had some real attitude as well that was cutting through. You tell he was a rocker. He had some swagger, but he was very Aussie as well. So that was cool.
80s melodic hard rock you could listen to while cooking a barbecue.
Yeah, they just got some punch to them. Very good band. Yeah, looking forward to checking out some of their albums, and great to hear that they've got new music coming out. The reason I was a bit late to the gig was because I only decided to come along the day before, and I've got to fly in from a different state. The flights to get me there in time were already sold out, and I could only get a flight that got me into Melbourne at about 7:30.
What is it about H.E.A.T that made you travel from another state at the last minute? Why is this band so important to you, Belle?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go because it is expensive for me to fly and, stay at accommodation and all of that stuff. But I thought H.E.A.T are quite, special band to me because I spent a while ago now, but there was a big hiatus of new music, listening to new music, and I was just listening to stuff, from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then I kind of stopped. So I was listening to Spotify one day and just let it keep going, and Spotify decides to choose music for you if you do that. And H.E.A.T had just released a single called Nationwide, and I'd never heard this band before, but Nationwide came on and I was gripped from the start, and as the song progressed I'm like, what is this amazing music? And found out it was a band called H.E.A.T, and it had a snowball effect for me from then on wow, there is new music coming out that music to my ears kind of thing. I thought, no, I don't like any new music anymore, it's all terrible. But H.E.A.T were the first, if not one of the first bands to kind of get me interested in new music again. They have a special place in my heart, and I thought, you know what, stuff it, I need to go and see them, and I'm so glad that I did.
similar for me too, because we're both kids from the 80s. We grew up listening to all these awesome bands, and then it kind of just disappeared and it was lost. And we were kind of just twiddling our thumbs with the same bands, the Happy Spot. And then realizing it's such a huge scene over in Sweden that just picked up where those bands left off, and just that same energy, same passion, but fresh ideas.
Yeah.
So if anyone misses those times, just move to Sweden, because I wish I could. Don't know about you, Belle, but the first thing I noticed about this band was just how much fun they were having on stage. It was just infectious, and I think they were feeding off the energy of the crowd, and the crowd's feeding off the energy of the band, and everyone was just there, united by a passion for rock and roll, and it was just this great energy, great fun right from the start.
Yeah, but it was there from the start, and you know, the band, like most bands, get themselves pumped to come out on stage, but they don't always get kind of that positive feedback, even though people are there to see a band. But the crowd were just feeding back, and like you said, it was back and forth, and it escalated. I just watched it kind of have this effect on the band. You could hear the crowd sing along to the lyrics of pretty much every song, and it was just really heartwarming to see this interaction between the band and the crowd, and it just got more and more positive. And because of that, the band were, you know, they were pumped, but then they were just genuinely like just happy to be there, and the energy just kind of stayed, and if not increased. And the more they, you know, the happier and having fun they were, the crowd fed off that. It was just, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. It was just a beautiful thing to watch.
I mean, every time Kenny spoke to the crowd in between, he's just like, I love Melbourne. You guys have the same passion for what we're doing, the same, we're all here for rock and roll, heavy metal, whatever you call it. That's pretty much not word for word quite what he said, but it's just like, we're all here for the same thing. A lot of times when I go to a show and like the bands work in the audience, they like, get your hands up and clap. And at the earliest moment, people stop. But people were initiating the claps. The band didn't even have to do that. So when you've got such an audience that's into it, it makes their job so much easier. And it just makes it, they can have fun.
Kenny was such a great natural frontman, not just vocalist. And oh my God, we need to discuss his vocals, but just he's just got a real natural kind of ability to just be relaxed and casual, like he's just talking to a group of mates kind of thing. And there was a lot of, you know, pretty much between every song he was talking to the crowd, which was, it was great. It just made you feel, because it was quite an intimate gig actually. There was crowd, stage, Kenny would,
that's it.
He was right there, you know, touch the crowd, put his foot up on the floor,
on the monitors, reaching out, just you could see the people in the front row. And as you said, like his vocals, he makes it look effortless, and they were running around on stage, jumping, working the audience. He didn't get winded. You get familiar with songs on an album or Spotify or however you listen to music, and you just know them note for note pretty much. And then you hear them live being performed, and they got one shot to get it right. And it's just really, really heartwarming when you see a band just make it look effortless and just do the songs justice that you know, and make them even better because they got that live energy.
Yeah. What you hear on the recording, though, is what he can do live. Like, he's got an amazing voice, and you think, oh, well, maybe when he sings live, it'll be all off key. And no, he can sing. Like, Kenny is top tier vocals. Like, he is just one of the best singers. Amazing voice. Like, some of his high screams, like, he just nailed it.
Yeah.
Constantly throughout that gig. I was just in awe, really.
to point out a funny moment because live gigs, things happen, and just before the drum solo, the drummer like messes up the mic and it won't stay up, so he can't sing. They keep trying to tighten it, and it just so the roadie ended up having to hold it in place. Well, he got the whole audience to like sing along to some Viking chant that he basically just morphed into "Everyone Loves the Drummer" or something along those lines. It was an entertaining drum solo, and drum solos can
Yes.
be cool, but when you got a drummer with personality that gets the crowd going and just laughing and enjoying the moment and making the most of a technical fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. How a band reacts to a problem really is telling of just how good the band is. They're
Yeah.
complete pros, but they actually have a sense of humor as well.
What do you think of the set list? Because a lot of the songs were newer ones from the new album and Force Majeure and H.E.A.T, but they also played a few older songs. Were you as familiar with some of the older ones?
Not really, actually. Only a couple sounded like I'd probably, because I've heard all the albums, but I think the earlier ones maybe only once through. So, no, I wasn't really familiar, but I mean, I didn't hear a bad song played, so it was a great set list. Yeah, like I enjoyed the familiar ones, of course, and sang along and that, but it was great hearing. It was, to me, it's like new music from H.E.A.T.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, actually, that at one point Kenny acknowledged Eric Gromwald as a vocalist that sang on, I'm not sure how many albums, but a previous vocalist, and they obviously did some songs from his catalogue. And just the respect paid to a fellow singer and musician that came before and after him, actually, because it was Kenny was the original singer, and then Eric joined for a while, and then Kenny came back. I think is how it went. So there just didn't seem to be any, I don't know, there can be bad vibes and rivalry. We've all heard stories about that kind of thing going on in bands.
Really thankful for keeping the band alive so he could return when he felt the need was right. But just when you have respect like that, it just makes you even more endearing to an audience. It's all keeps that good vibes and happy moments, but keeping those songs alive by playing a few of them. And it's cool to hear his takes on them. Much like you, there were a few songs that I was unfamiliar with, but that's the cool thing about a live show, because if they do play songs you're not so familiar with, you go and check them out. Because there's been concerts before where a band might play an obscure album track, and all of a sudden I'm like, that's a really cool song, so I go back and revisit it. So I like it when bands don't just play 20 hit songs that everyone knows, play 18 and then sneak a couple in. Keep the rest of the catalogue alive just to mix things up a bit.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think from last year now until the end of time, every time you see a band, majority of them are going to play a tribute to Ozzy. And when the drums start punching out the intro to War Pigs, and Kenny says, yes, this is exactly what you think it is, the whole audience, the whole room, you can just feel the love and the respect.
Yeah.
So that was a cool moment.
It was a great tribute. I really enjoyed that.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds of blood destruction, sorcery of death's construction.
We had a pretty cool viewpoint from the side of the stage. We got to see everything looking down. And at one point, I think you said to me, there's a guitarist wearing a bum bag. I bet it's filled with picks. And at the end, he starts throwing picks out from there. So yeah, he had a whole bag full of picks, which was pretty cool. As a guitar player myself, you never have too many of them. So I thought that was pretty cool. But, well, since you're a keyboard player and you're quite familiar with that, and we were right near the keyboard player. So did you spend any time watching him?
I had a very good view of the keyboards and spent a lot of time watching him, actually. We were side of stage, as you say, and the keyboard player was on that side of the stage, so I could see what he was doing. Actually, he was like diagonal to the stage and the side of the stage. It was interesting. He had like two keyboards, and it was great being able to sort of watch him and like the different sounds, because they're a melodic rock, and they've got, not all melodic rock bands have keyboards, but just that their sound is really filled out, and it just gives it that H.E.A.T sound, and a lot of it is to do with his contribution. It was nice to be able to see my brother keyboard player rocking out up there. He just had a smile on his face the whole time. He just was having fun. The band, they're all kind of moving around, or obviously not the drummer, or the keyboard player, but interacting with each other and just having fun rocking out as a band.
It's awesome going to live shows and just hanging out with a few hundred strangers all around you, everyone united by the same thing. There's not enough kindness in the world. There really isn't. So when you see something that's nice, you have to kind of point it out. So there were some shorter people behind you, Belle. You stepped aside and you said, go in front, you get a better view. Everyone paid their money to come see this band that they loved, and you didn't have to do that. But you just noticed something and you were considerate enough to put that forward to a complete stranger, and you just improved their night. So that was just a beautiful thing you did, and I'm happy I can call you my friend, because like I said, there's not enough kindness in the world. So well done.
Well, thank you. It was just a no-brainer for me. I turned around and they were, pretty short, but why should they not be able to see? So of course, and exactly. I had perfect vision over them, or sort of between them. So
just worked out a bit of concert etiquette, which is just really lost at times. People secure their place. When they get there early, they line up, they take however they plan to get there, and then 5 minutes before the show, some big guys just come and stand in front of them. It's just really disrespectful and rude.
Yeah, why is there's always really big, tall guys that kind of push their way out to the front? And
just hang out at the bar. They rock up late. They hang out at the bar, and then the band's on. They just push their way to the front. It's just bloody terrible.
There's always that one or two, but they're not all like that. But
no,
there can be some bad concert etiquette. I encounter it pretty much every time. So.
Back to the rhythm of, back to the rhythm of fire, back to the rhythm of, back in the rhythm united.
So that's a review of H.E.A.T live in Melbourne. They flew all the way from Sweden to come and entertain us with their melodic rock, which we certainly appreciated. We had a hell of a great time, and we hope that they will come back again really soon and bring their friends. More Swedish bands need to come to Melbourne.
So were you guys there? Did you see H.E.A.T in Melbourne? They played in Brisbane and Sydney too, I believe. Let us know if you were there. Let us know in the comments what you thought. If you're a H.E.A.T fan and didn't end up going, let us know. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things. If you would, it would be greatly appreciated. But we'll be back for more metal talk next time. We'll see you in the darkness.